2. Hello everybody and welcome back to Portugal, round 7 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. We return to Agueda and heading into this 7th round, just 4 points separate the MX2 Championship leader Kai de Wolf and Simon Längenfelder. Last year's Portuguese race was a mudder, just like this one will be, and that was dominated by Liam Everts, and it's those 3 riders who arrive here fresh off the podium in Switzerland 2 weeks ago. On paper, you have to say de Wolf is maybe favourite to win the overall, but with 8 different race winners already this year, your guess is as good as ours as to how this one will play out. And it's 40 years ago, 29th July 1985 was when we had the first ever Grand Prix here, back in 1985. That was a 125 Grand Prix. Dave Strybos was victorious on a Honda with a 2nd and a 1st. He traded wins and seconds with Pekka Väkkönen on the Kajiva, and then it was Kees van der Ven who went 5th and 3rd for 3rd overall on his KTM. All seems a little bit deja vu, doesn't it, from about an hour or so ago, but here we are once again getting ready to go. The track crews have had that extra little bit of time to work on the track, redirect some of the water. The fans are right there, but right on cue, just when we didn't think the rain was coming, it looks like it has finally made its way to us here, ahead of MX2 Race 1, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. Apologies for the 1 hour delay in the broadcast, but as you probably know by now, the rains, the heavens opened throughout the day and over the course of the evening, and we had some parts of the track over on the far side, over by the waves at the bottom of the hill, so to the left of the waves, and parts of the track were flooded, and yeah, we needed to sort all that out. But right now, this 1,630 meter long racetrack is ready to go. And look at what they fixed there. Look, they've put a single at the bottom of the jump there. They've put a new pond. Let's take a look at the GoPro track preview. This is what it looked like yesterday when it was nice and dry. Take me back, please. Ruben Fernandez was the guy who got his name drawn out of the hat. Not sure if you'd say drawing the short straw or not, but Ruben Fernandez under HRC. There's about an hour or so, probably less, just up the road, just over the border in Spain. That's where he's from. And it's he who gets to take us for a lap around this racetrack here in Agueda. It's about 75 meters into turn 1. Oh, look at that dirt. Absolutely fantastic. Well, there's nothing like that now, I'm afraid. Through that sweeping left, over the foxhole shot line, up over the first crest, and then we tighten up into turn 2. Short straight, over the drop off there. That's the Monster Energy downhill into turn 3. That's 90 degrees. Short burst on the gas, over the liquid mileage. That's about 25 meters. And then you can go inside or outside, or inside outside here the next couple of corners. Look at that cheeky little line, not sure that'll be there today. Anyway, turn 5, dropping down over the single. This is the run to the Monster Energy finish line jump. This nice little double, followed by what used to be the finish line jump, a nice big uphill triple. We've got a circuit change here. As we come out of this left, we've got this tabletop, because that's a tunnel access now that takes us to the newly positioned pit lane over here. So the riders this year go down on the left side as opposed to the right. At the end of the straight, we've still got this single, takes us through the right-hander. Sector 1 from the finish line to about now is where that ends there, actually, just by that tough block. We're now in Sector 2. We head uphill, double up onto this plateau. You can go wide or you can cut to the inside, double your way into those 7 waves, and that makes it double, double, double to the end of the straight. Otherwise, you have to make a single or a double. There's an odd one in there somewhere. Anyway, out of there, through the right, City Dragons back. This is the area that's now changed. It's all, you know, they've done away with the water now. All those flooding areas have gone. Over the double, and then as we reach this point here, we are now at the end of Sector 2. We're now into Sector 3. Monster Energy triple takes us back down into the gully, uphill, through the left. You can really drift it through there in dry conditions. This is a little double here, but normally it's difficult to get over. The first one lower than the second one. Swing through the right, uphill into the left. We're working towards the end of Sector 3 as we hit the single around about now, but that's also the point where we turn right, back onto the start straight, uphill in towards turn 2. What a beautiful lap. So anyway, you can see the areas there. They've built up areas and contained the water to stop it flooding from one side to the other, like you see the MIPS banners there, and then all of that. They've done a really, really good job in the time that they've had, so props to our track crew once again for getting us up and running. Not sure what they can do about the rain, though, that may or may not be forecast. We'll keep you posted on that as well. Anyway, a few moments ago, I'd say about an hour and 20 minutes ago, Lisa Leyland was down on the grid. she caught up with a couple of victims. One of those, Mathis Valin, back from injury, Kawasaki Racing Team. Before that, though, the Van Rooij Racing KTM rider, Casvolt.
So we're almost ready for the first MX2 race of the day, but let's speak to Van Rooij's KTM Racing's Casvolt. Kaz, it's going to be a long race, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, everyone thought, I think, it couldn't get worse than last year. Now, I'm not sure if it's worse, probably yes. So it will be interesting to see what they have done to the track since the last time they were out on the track. So I think, yeah, it was raining really, really hard. And I think there's not so much done to the track, so it will be interesting to see. It's anyway going to be a big mud race, and it's going to be a long race for sure.
But actually, if you think about it, a track like this, looking at the positives, it's that kind of like stony gravel, it's kind of hard base. And in terms of the track crew, they can kind of maybe move the top and sort of scrape the top off and just manage it that way. It's not like a Saint-Jean or a Majora, for instance. It's a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think the ground is quite hard underneath, so I think it was quite dry beginning of the weekend. Yeah. So maybe underneath there is still some hard base, but I'm not sure about that either. So yeah, just hoping on a good start, and then keep the goggles on, keep it on 2 wheels, and yeah, that's the goal.
Have fun out there. Best of luck. Let's grab a few words with Kawasaki Racing Team's Mathis Valin. Mathis, you're making your return back from injury this weekend. First off, just tell us how you're feeling.
Yeah, I feel good. I'm happy to be back on the bike with no pain, so this is very good. Yesterday was quite difficult. The track was muddy, but today is going to be worse, so we will see.
You mentioned actually that the break you had due to your injury, it was a good way for you to kind of look back and reflect on the start of the season and analyse the first few races. What did you think about the first start of your season, and have you learned anything going forward?
Yeah, I was watching the GP on my bed, so it was quite different. So I learned a little bit from the guys in front. Yeah, the beginning of the season was not the best for me. I was having the speed though, but many crashes. So now I want to take my time, stay on 2 wheels, and we will see the result. But yeah, take race by race and take my time.
Okay, well, best of luck for this round. Mathis Valin there. Good luck to all the guys. It's time for MX2 race 1.
This was the sighting lap just a few moments ago, because there was no way they could get their jet skis around the track last time around. So anyway, glad to see they've had their sight lap. Earlier on though, as the crowds braved the rain and forecasted weather and all those kind of things, we had the opening ceremony. And the brass band up there taking shelter, as you can see. Look, Oompa Loompas over there on the right-hand side. But that was the kind of rain that we had. That was a slight drizzle compared to what we did have. But all the dignitaries and the local school choir and band playing their way through the national anthem, I guess. But just to open up the ceremony and the Grand Prix here. No speeches. For the obvious reasons, couldn't get them all under there. Anyway, take a look at the qualifying race yesterday, shall we? This is what happened if you weren't with us. Yeah, it was all right. Anyway, look at that blue skies. We'd had a little bit of drizzle, hadn't we, at some point? So it was a little bit sticky on top. But the guys would love to have those conditions today. That's for sure. Anyway, it was Adamo who bagged the whole shot. He was duking it out actually with Sascha Koenen and Simon Längenfelder, the 2 Husqvarnas of Everts and De Wolf were right there. That was the 51 of Oriol Oliver. Rain clouds on the horizon seems to be the word of the weekend, or the phrase of the weekend. De Wolf got himself into contention just behind one of the KTMs. Everts found his way into 3rd. De Wolf then got his elbows out. One of those was a payback for what happened in Turkey last year. Found his way up into 4th, and then 3rd with that move on his teammate Liam Everts. But it didn't last long, because just there, centre of your screen, ran into trouble, tried to get back on track as safely as possible, and as he emerged, Everts got alongside him and got himself back into 3rd. Adamo was coming back downhill in the opposite direction. Towards the end of the race, the heavens opened. Mathis Valin was running in 6th position till about the halfway point, then he just lost the front. That allowed McClellan to go around the outside of him. But Adamo, all on his own, led all 12 laps, crossed the line to win his second qualifying race win of the year. Take a look at the championship then. After that, De Wolf started the weekend 3 points clear. He's now 4 clear of Längenfelder, who is 16 points clear of Adamo. Then we've got Everts, just 9 behind, then Thibaut Beneston, rounding out your top 5. Qualifying race then finished with Adamo winning from Sascha Kuhnen, Liam Everts, De Wolf and Simon Längenfelder, with Camden McClellan, Guillaume Ferrez, Quentin Prunier picking up 8th place, Ferruccio Zanchi 9 and Mathis Valin 10. The first 10 riders, as they go to the line there, they all picked up World Championship points yesterday. 10 for Adamo, 1 for Mathis Valin, who came home in 10th. No points for everybody there afterwards, starting with Oriol Oliver. He picked himself up off the deck from turn 1 to get back to 11, ahead of Rick Elzinga, Valerio Latta, who fell on the first downhill on the opening lap. Casbolt, who fell also on the first lap just after pit lane, got himself back to 14th. And then we had Thibaut Beneston, who also ran into trouble, and a few of the other guys there as well. These people are so fed up of putting up and taking down their umbrellas, they're just keeping them up now. Why wouldn't you? Antonio Cairoli, the 9-time world champion, making a brief visit here as the riders make their way to the start line. Andrea Adamo starts from pole position, having won his second qualifying race of the season on his Red Bull KTM. The first came in Argentina at the opening round. Sascha Kuhnen, for the 3rd time, finishing 3rd in the qualifying races. Can he pull one of those fantastic hole shots? He has 4 at the moment, the most of anybody in MX2. Liam Everts came home 3rd, ahead of the Nastan Husqvarna teammate of Kai De Wolf. De Wolf handing him that 3rd place, really, when he went off track. But the championship leader started the weekend 3 points clear of Simon Längenfelder, but because he finished 1 place ahead of him in the quali race, Kai De Wolf coming home 4th and Längenfelder 5th, he gained another 1 point advantage. 4 points separate Kai De Wolf and Simon Längenfelder at the top of the championship heading into MX2 race 1. If ever you needed a good start, today is that day, because that start straight, even though it looks perfectly manicured and prepped, it is anything but. A lot of water is sitting underneath there. Camden McClellan, Monster Energy Triumph, he got the better of his teammate Guillaume Ferrez with about 4 or 5 laps to go. The 2 Triumph riders coming home in 6th and 7th. For Ferrez, that was his best qualifying race result of the season so far. Rest of the riders making their way into their position. You see Rick Elzinga spinning up his rear wheel, just trying to get a little bit of heat into that tyre. Maybe even to take that edge up ever so slightly, because you can have too much grip, can't you? Getting off the grate, off the mesh. See how wet that start straight is. If you were with us for our live broadcast of the European 250 Championship race earlier on, just as they started to peel into that left-hander, those riders who pretty much grabbed that advantage on the inside, as they came through, it was almost like a wave of mud and water just washed over everybody else to the right-hand side. We'll probably get something similar this time around as well. If you're under the shade, you're already doing okay, because the sun comes out, it's quite warm. If it stays in behind the clouds, it's very chilly, but if the rain comes, we don't know if it's going to be a drizzle or an absolute deluge. Andrea Adamo starts up on the inside gate, doesn't want to leave anything to chance here. The Fly Racing 15-second board is up for the first time. MX2 race 1, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. A crucial start to this first MX2 race. Who will it be that grabs that whole shot? Everybody away, but immediately the water and the spray as they jostle for position. They've cleaned it up nicely through the first turn, though. Everybody up and over the hill, but look at the conditions they're met with here going into turn 2. And it's the Husqvarna of Everts who leads the way. Did he bag the foxhole shot, though? That is the question. We'll check that out in a few moments' time. but landing short into that waterhole. Elzinga and Perez down in turn 2. But it's Liam Everts who leads the way. Sasha Kunin there in second. Kai de Wolf has stayed upright. He's there in third place, the championship leader. And crucially, he is ahead of Simon Längenfelder, his closest championship rival, who emerges over the line in 7th place. So we've got Everts who goes down in the first turn. He pulls a Fevre. Golden opportunity. Throws it away, tries to pick himself up and rejoin the race. But that is the first casualty of the race. So Kunin now leads, De Wolf second, Adamo third, Oliver fourth, McClellan in fifth. Look at that, his front brake is jammed. And he picks himself up, and Maxim Gros goes down alongside him in 20th position. So that's how far back Everts is now. Kunin leads, De Wolf second, Adamo third, McClellan fourth, Oliver gets a good start this time around. Längenfelder in 6th place, Valin in 7th, then Prunier and Zanki. And then we've got Racialist, Latta, Volk, Braceras, Mikola, Beniston, Elzinga and Perez. This is where we had all the floods, where they've had to redirect the water somehow. Working our way back over the little double jump. But the slop on this racetrack here will be okay if we don't have any more rain. Of course, without that rain, it will get heavier and stickier. But the track crew, in the time that they've had, they've done a pretty miraculous job of getting this track race fit, or as race fit as possible. There's the riders spread out. That's Adamo heading uphill over the Vauxhall shot line in that 3rd position in that canary yellow. But it's Sasha Kunin who leads. Not quite able to get the distance on the takeoff here. Heavy landing the further you jump, because obviously that landing point just seems to roll up ever so slightly. But you don't want to land short either, as we saw Everts on the opening lap, because so much water sitting on the jump. And Volk is down. Volk dropping down the leaderboard. He was in about 12th place. And Everts is down again. He was up into 15th. Last year he went 1-1 here. And De Wolf is down. De Wolf goes down, the championship leader. Längenfelder, well, there's Adamo going by. There's McClellan. Just before they entered pit lane, and De Wolf fighting to try and keep McClellan at bay. He does, and puts him on his ear. And now he's got wet, muddy gloves. Oliver goes through. There's Längenfelder. So De Wolf dropping from 2nd. Here he is now. And McClellan still trying to get going. Look how heavy it is there. All that mud around the front wheel. Does seem to rejoin the race, but that was an expensive mistake. De Wolf getting his elbows out again, just like he did in the qualifying race yesterday. Don't worry about the sun at the moment. It's a mirage. Oh, now just dry the track out, please. That's all we ask. Look at that, they've created another reservoir here in the middle of the circuit. Scooped it up and closed it. Right, we've got some crashes coming up for you here. That one was Everts when he was in 15th position, so heading up into turn 2 at the end of that first lap. This was De Wolf a moment ago, into the right-hander just before pit lane, folded the front. Oh, I'll tell you what, buried his head in the mud there, didn't he? Picks himself up, and then, as he fought for that 3rd position, tags the wheel of McClellan. McClellan goes down. Does he get roosted here? Of course he does. So 2 laps complete. Yeah, just 2 laps. The lap time then was a 2:17. 1:46.7 for Sasha Kunin on that second lap. In time practice, we were looking at 1:45.7. Here's Adamo. He is still circulating in second place at the moment, sitting pretty ahead of De Wolf, ahead of Längenfelder, who he started the race 16 points behind after his qualifying win on Saturday. But De Wolf looking menacing there in the background, isn't he? Getting ready to pounce. He's definitely on the prowl. Fourth at the top of the hill, Oriol Oliver, and then he goes down as well. So Oliver, who got himself up to fourth with Längenfelder behind him, he's now in trouble as well. So Sasha Kunin leads Adamo by about 9 seconds. Kai de Wolf is third, a couple of seconds further back, just at the top of the hill here as we watch Adamo. Then we've got Simon Längenfelder, who has just picked off people by not really doing anything other than staying on two wheels. He's now up in the fourth place. Ferruccio Zenki is fifth, Vallant sixth, Quentin Prunier seventh, Carlos Reichless eighth, Valerio Latta ninth, Thibaut Beniston is 10th, ahead of Rick Elzinger and Oliver. So from fourth to 12th place for Oriol Oliver. Sasha Kunin looking good though on the Red Bull KTM, leading the way. Just get him through turn 3 first, and we'll take a look at the start, shall we? He's getting the distance over the tabletop now. Can only assume that's where he's maybe gaining ground on his rivals. But at the end of lap 3, Sasha Kunin, his lap time last time around a 2:17.755, goes quicker this time around, 2:15.8. Oh, almost off the side of the track there though. Replay of the start. I think he's gone down. Everts with the foxhole shot. For the second time this year. Watch this. You saw it from the body language when he came into land. Oh, and he has. Perfect dismount there, though, almost. I tell you what, look how deep that mud is. Claudio De Carli, can't believe it. Just as we cut away for that start replay, the body language suggested he was slightly offline and then bounced, and we waited in suspense, and he's still there trying to get going. And Kunin now feels the wrath of the deep mud on the trackside, and Adamo finds himself leading at the Belgian's expense. Andrea Adamo, 2.3 seconds clear. Bit of a moment there through the waves himself, but oh, look how heavy that was. If you're joining us live, welcome to the Wild and Woolly Boxing Day race in the Midlands. Only joking. Of course, it's the MXGP of Portugal. And look at Adamo. He's being caught here by Kai de Wolf. De Wolf looking good. Längenfelder looking even better. He's there in third place at the moment as the back end protests and fights for traction as he rejoins the track at turn 1. Nothing in it between the first three. Look, about 2.5 seconds. Ah, Adamo almost threw his chance away at the lead as well. Folded the front, managed to stay up on two wheels. Just watch here. Oh, you see, it's hard and slick underneath. You think that berm is going to stick, and then all of a sudden collapses right underneath the knobbles on that front wheel. Somehow he stayed up though, using that upper body strength, using his legs as well. Längenfelder, he's just biding his time here, isn't he? Liam Everts down the inside of David Braceras, still with 19.5 minutes plus 2 to go. Everts now making moves. He's up into about 14th place. Sasha Coonan dropping down the leaderboard at the moment, showing us 13th. Working our way up into this left-hand turn. Adamo continues to lead. There are two very definitive lines coming out of that turn, but look how long the tram lines are as they drop towards that uphill double. And then the water that's being displaced by the front end of De Wolf's machine before he jumps down beneath the Monster Energy banner. Nervous look over the shoulder there from Adamo. Sees De Wolf lurking in his wings there in the rearview mirror. This is where you've got to manage your race now as well. Stay easy on the bike, stay light on the bike, certainly on the clutch. Use the gears, don't hold the gears too long and you're revving the nuts off of it. Got Längenfelder just up on the pegs, nice and chill. Looking like he's biding his time, isn't he? As De Wolf trying to do something about Andrea Adamo. Sasha Coonan, 16th. After his fall a lap or so ago, 2 laps ago actually. 5 laps complete. Adamo and De Wolf separated by just over a second. Längenfelder about 1.9 seconds further back. He's perfectly placed actually, because if there's any shenanigans between these two, then of course he'll be right there ready to pick up the pieces. Ferruccio Zanchi, haven't seen too much of him at the moment. He is in 4th place for Honda HRC. Mathis Valin, his first ride back from injury, in 5th position. De Wolf getting caught napping and following Adamo's lines, and that has brought Simon Längenfelder back into play. Right, De Wolf senses an opportunity here. It almost paid off as well, but as he went left and then caught the upslope of the next wave, that pitched him to the right, and he had to go to plan B. Clearing the water hole there, wasn't he? De Wolf on the inside. That helmet now getting very, very heavy. Can't even get over the double there. Längenfelder all over the back of the Husqvarna, who needs to regroup. And his goggle strap is hanging off the back of the helmet there. That's not good either for De Wolf, because that'll be pulling the goggles off the top of his brow and the top of his nose, the bridge of his nose, a little bit lower. Everything will be feeling a little bit alien, so he's either going to have to discard the goggles, which he doesn't want to do, and he's grappling for tear-offs there, or roll-offs, or trying to clear the mud from beyond the roll-off. Definitely got visibility issues, has the reigning champ and championship leader, number 1, Kai De Wolf. And that has allowed Adamo to escape over the top of the hill. Längenfelder knows that De Wolf is in trouble as well, and he'll see this as an opportunity. Well, Längenfelder throws his goggles, does he? No, just a tear-off. Right, De Wolf's managed to get his goggles working again. Just wonder whether oh, and Everts down again. Everts 13th and struggling. Kai De Wolf looked like the roll-off film may have just been sticking, who knows, but he was able to pull the cord on the left side a moment ago. So that looks like it's freed itself up. Very rare that he suffers a goggle malfunction. And clearly everything is okay, because he's still got them wrapped around his head. Längenfelder's line there, just dropping into the inside, going a little bit wider around the top, carrying that momentum, but then he just drops into that hole. Loses a bit, gains a bit, loses a bit more. It is an effective line though, isn't it? And that's also effective. Got good drive there. Gets right back onto the rear wheel of the Nissan Husqvarna. And we've really got 14 minutes left to run it in this race. It seems like it's taken absolutely forever. And then try being the rider, dealing with these conditions, the ever-changing racetrack. It's a real endurance test for these riders. Heart rate will remain low though, because their intensity isn't like it normally would be, but it's just the constant fighting of the bike, the front end, the back end, reading the track, hoping that the line that you've picked is a good one, that it doesn't send you too far wide into a deep mud hole. And you have to be patient as well. Längenfelder trying to go for that double. Hits, bounces off, goes wide, gets good drive around the outside as well. And will he sneak up the inside here and do to De Wolf what he did to him in the qualifying race? These two got history, haven't they? Turkey last year, at the end of the waves when you turn left. Seem to recall Längenfelder launching De Wolf almost into the capital, Istanbul, and that's about 4 hours away. Could have ended his championship, actually. So I just wonder whether that one yesterday, that little nudge to the outside that ran Längenfelder off the track, was a little bit of flashback to that, just to go, well, you know what, you're sitting right there in front of me, you're there for the taking. Dush, take that. Adamo, has got a 9-second lead as De Wolf somehow manages to stay on two wheels as he hits the line. So these two tripping each other up. That's played into the hands of Adamo. 9 seconds further up the track now, but Kai De Wolf very lucky to get away with that one. Just came up short there, look, off balance. Not a lot of room to work there either. Yeah, you don't need those anyway. Overrated goggles. Yeah, Längenfelder ditching his. So, here's De Wolf. Längenfelder ahead of him. And here's how. A mistake for De Wolf. He almost didn't make it up there a lap ago, and then all of a sudden, Simon Längenfelder's line. This is Kuhnen. Kuhnen off the side of the track, and he can't get going. Look, he's just looking at the thing going, how do I even get my bike out of here? The fence is there for a reason. And we've got how long left? 11 minutes plus 2 to go. I think it's going to take him at least that long to get back out of the cage. Anyway, Längenfelder chucking his goggles, and it's played into his hands really, because he had clear visibility, and when De Wolf made his mistake, he could see exactly what he was doing, and now he's got full visibility. De Wolf still obviously trying to keep his goggles on as long as possible. No one getting the distance over the jump here. Of course, even though you've got no goggles on, it doesn't necessarily mean you're home and dry. You even pick up the mud off the front of your motorcycle, and when you go into berms or hit water and things like that, so you still can get roosted by your own machine, but just not as much as when you're sitting behind. Right, there's Kuhnen there on the end of the finish line. Look, that's where he's gone off. So Kuhnen out of the race then, it would appear. Got himself up into 13th. There he is on the finish line. So Längenfelder second, Kai De Wolf third. There'll be a 2-point swing in favour of Simon Längenfelder. The gap will be down to 2 points at the top of the championship. De Wolf on 3:08, Längenfelder 3:06. And he would have just seen Längenfelder use that line and thought, you know what, why wasn't I using that a lap or so ago? And some of that comes down to safety, that security of using a line and not really wanting to stray from it in these kind of conditions. Doesn't always necessarily make it the best line though, does it? And De Wolf now, he'll probably realise that there's no goggles on the helmet of Längenfelder. And as he's approaching traffic and having to dip his head to avoid the roost off the riders ahead of him, that puts him at a disadvantage. There's Maxim Gros to the inside on the 83, tiptoeing around, hoping to pick up points. Look, Längenfelder there, got two riders ahead of him. Eyes are going to be squinting because he's not going to be able to see. Now he's having to sit back, and guess what? De Wolf takes full advantage, gets himself back into second position. And the 2 points go back the other way to the number one. And these two having their own battle as well. Look, Venekens and Magnus Smith. And De Wolf splits them as he comes out of that turn. This is Oriol Oliver going down again. Got himself up into ninth. So Magnus Smith, who is in 19th position, that's him in blue on the KL Racing machine. Those yellow flags are for Lucas Koenen on the, Sasha Koenen on the side of the track. De Wolf, second position now for the championship leader is Liam Evans. He is circulating in 14th position. Finally, Koenen rejoins the race. And Everts going back after Braceras again. Found his way past him for 14th about 4 laps ago, then fell. Is that Sasha Koenen again? Or is that Adamo? Looked like it might have been Volk, yeah, Kaz Volk. So Kaz Volk from 15th position finds himself with more troubles. Everts going to get a faceful there, isn't he? As he tries to find his way past the Spaniard on the JM Honda. We're going to get a good drive here, but got to be careful not to use the Koenen line that's put him in the fence 2 or 3 laps ago. Oh, he got a pitch there, didn't he? As he hit the step up. Nicely on the pegs, but last year when he went 1-1, conditions were made for him. Anyway, Kai de Wolf and Längenfelder going at it. Look, these two banging bars again in almost the same part of the racetrack. No love lost there, and Längenfelder has gone back past him, hasn't he? No, that's Everts. Wave yellows, top of the hill. Maxim Gros with issues. Everts bouncing his way through the waves, top of the hill. Trying to find his way up the inside of Braceras, still. You can get clear track, you can be the fastest rider on track, but when you get up behind somebody, it halts your progress pretty significantly if you're not careful. 5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. This battle at the top of the championship between the top 2 riders in the championship, Kai de Wolf and Simon Längenfelder. At the moment, de Wolf on 310 points, Längenfelder on 304. And de Wolf clears a back marker before he hits the step up. Längenfelder getting into trouble there though. Lost a little bit of time. Right, De Wolf now with a clear bit of track ahead of him. And Längenfelder, that mistake that he made a moment ago, all of a sudden finds himself dealing with traffic that he didn't need to be dealing with. Can he dig deep here and go back after his main rival? That's the gap, top of the screen, to the rider on the jump now. Längenfelder was looking so good, wasn't he? Obviously took his goggles off and then paid the price when he approached traffic. Two riders in his line of sight. That allowed De Wolf to get back at him, find his way by. But this is only race one. Sun out for now. So Andrea Adamo rounding out the final turn, getting ready to complete. In fact, he's already over the line. Okay, we're not done yet then. So Adamo leading the way. 18.2 seconds clear of Kai De Wolf. Längenfelder 4.3 seconds further back. That's him now on screen. On the Red Bull KTM. Oh, the Nistan Husqvarna rider gets unseated, roosts the mechanics down there in pit lane as he gets himself going as well, gives themselves a mud shower. He's now put himself back under pressure as Längenfelder, he likes that inside-outside combination. This time he goes to the outside again. He's got to be careful though, because De Wolf is all over the place at the minute. A little bit untidy. He senses the danger from behind. Oh, and Längenfelder almost comes unstuck as well. Gravel, water, sand, stones, all kinds of stuff going on through there. And when you're getting that thrown up in your face, not pleasant. Like sticking your head in a cement mixer. Feels like that as well with the grinding underneath your eyelids. But Längenfelder is coming back here, has time to launch an attack, another attack. What's that, 3, 4? Thibaut Beniston, meanwhile, has found his way into 10th. Just found his way past Latta. Oliveira's in 12th, Everts 13, Bracera's 14 now. See how shiny it is if it goes down to the rock in that top corner. Makes it very, very slippery when you get on the gas. Andrea Adamo, though, head of the field. Pretty impressive at the minute. On course for what would be his 8th race victory in his career as Racialist goes down from 8th place. "12 laps complete. Adamo over the line. 18.5 seconds clear of De Wolf and Längenfelder. Those two still separated by about 1.5 seconds. This is a battle for the championship, by the way. Wave Jello's the other side of the Dragon's back. That's for Racialist. He's trying to get that thing fired back into life after his fall a moment ago. Having to use all of the racetrack here and a little bit more. That was effective, wasn't it, for Kai De Wolf? Just pulled the pin and decided, you know, well, let's just go for broke. get through here. What will be, will be. Gained a few yards on Längenfelder as he went left and then over that little step down. See that definitive line, not necessarily drying out through those waves, but that darker element is where the water is being dispersed to the left and to the right. Song title in there somewhere, isn't there? Anyway, Magnus Smith is up to 18th. Getting more points on the board. De Wolf doing a good job of keeping Längenfelder at bay. I won't say it's getting to be one-lined out there on the track in some places, but there's certainly no more than one. He struggled to find two. Makes it difficult for passing. Längenfelder losing ground there out of that left-hander at the top of the hill. Will he now yield and just say, you know what, settle for this third place, take those points, scratching his helmet there just to try and get some of that heavy mud off top, because you get that mud on the top of your helmet, on the visor, that just then loads the helmet up. That was his mistake there. See how shiny it is? That's the slick nature of the surface there. Trying to scrape the mud off his visor just to lighten the load a little bit, stop it from falling over his eyebrows. Makes visibility very difficult in those instances, because then you're having to raise your head. That puts tension on your neck and the backs of your shoulders. Oh, De Wolf, keep it on two wheels. He does. He doesn't do a Koenen there. Very close, though. Meanwhile, enjoying his afternoon here on a Sunday, Andrea Adamo, 16 seconds clear. Stroll in the park.
A vitória parece estar então definitivamente entregue a Adamo, que vem já a cumprir a penúltima volta, ficará com mais uma passagem quando
Liam Everts crashed
novamente saltar
whilst leading.
de meta.
Eventually, Sasha Koenen went as well. Adamo picked off by not really doing anything, apart from just staying on two wheels. And with a lap and a bit to go, it's looking good for his second race win of the season, Andrea Adamo. He'll gain another 5 points on Längenfelder. Just trials riding his way through some of these conditions, some of these deep long ruts. He was absolutely over the moon when he won the qualifying race on Saturday. Imagine the celebration when he crosses the line in a few moments' time. Look at the lap times, 2 minutes 32.5 last time around for Adamo. Time practice yesterday, 1:45.7. Here's Koenen bouncing his way from A to B. Still in the race in 20th position at the moment. Sorry, I was just touching the woodwork here, wondering how long that paint is going to take to dry. So pretty good dry paint here. Anyway, there's Valin from 4th place. Elzinga goes through, Prunier goes through, picks himself back up in around 6th place. And Adamo into his final lap. The Red Bull KTM rider has just stayed out of trouble, got to the front early, dictated the race from the front. Everybody else was forced to play catch-up. They were the ones that made the mistakes then after that. He won't care too much about that. And a relative stroll in the park for him, the former world champion. Prunier now up into 4th place on the WZ race in Kawasaki. That's going to be a career best for him, isn't it? Got a couple 7s earlier on in the year in Spain. Meanwhile, the battle for 2nd position continues between De Wolf and Längenfelder on the final lap. Can De Wolf just hang on, or will it be Längenfelder who has the last lap? Thibaut Beneston going a lap down in 8th position on the number 9. Not used to being in this position, certainly. Oh, look at the line that De Wolf chose there. Thibaut Beneston, look, that single line heading downhill. Then you can open it up a little bit here, inside or outside. That's your option with a couple of lines here and there, but neither one as good as the other. But Längenfelder gaining back onto the rear wheel of De Wolf. And he slides up just as Längenfelder did in the corner that he found his way past the German in the qualifying race yesterday. It's the German who unpicks De Wolf. Goes into 2nd position, and we are going to get a point swing in the opposite direction once more. Adamo out of the final turn. He's going to cross the line and win for the 2nd time this season as he wins race 1 in Agueda. Behind him, Längenfelder looking to hang on. He's just taken 2nd position. De Wolf trying to get back on the rear wheel of the German, but it's going to be Längenfelder who takes a big 2nd place finish from De Wolf. The points go from 310 to 308 and 304 to 306. Watch this here, gets on the gas and just lights it up, and Längenfelder was right there when he needed to be. 2 points in it at the top of the championship after race 1. Andrea Adamo, though, with his 2nd race win of the season, his first one coming in Saint-Jean-d'Angely race 2. All right, this was Everts leading on the opening lap. He tipped over, Koonen went by, De Wolf went by. De Wolf then fell out of 2nd place, picked himself up after burying his head in the sand. He then tried to defend his position and tagged the front wheel of McClellan. McClellan eventually coming home in 16th. Then Oriol Oliver fell. Sasha Koonen fell from the lead and parked it, pulled a handstand, graceful dismount, and he went off again at the side of the track at the finish line area. There was a lot going on in that race. Despite all of that, Sasha Koonen did still manage, even though he finished 2 laps down, to pick up 19th place and salvage a couple of points. But it seemed to have gone forever. I just felt like I've watched the 2K. 3 hours, anybody? Oh, did somebody say MXGP race 1's coming up next? Can't wait. Anyway, let's go down to Lisa. She is with our 2-time race winner now in 2025, Andrea Adamo. And he made it look so easy, didn't he?
Andrea Adamo, congratulations. You made light work of some very difficult conditions out there. You managed to stay out of trouble when many others didn't. But how was it from your seat?
Yeah, it was really crazy. We don't have pretty often these conditions because this is surviving, but I managed to take a decent start, and then the goal was not to do mistakes, and that's what I try to do and what I did. So I'm super happy I win the first moto, so let's keep the momentum for the second one.
Good luck for the second race.
Andrea Adamo coming away with the win in race 1 here in Portugal. Pretty smooth, kept it cool, calm, calculated. Very measured performance from the Italian. Gains ground on his rivals. Can he do it again in race 2? Take a look at the highlights, shall we? While we've still got time. The start of MX2 race 1 here, round 7 in Portugal. Liam Everts took advantage of, I tell you what, yeah, Everts up the inside of Adamo, grabbing his second whole shot of the season. Coonan was there behind him, then Adamo, then De Wolf. De Wolf sneaked into third though, didn't he, at the bottom of the hill. McClellan was there in 4th or 5th place. Everts then fell a few corners later, just folded the front. Coonan took over, De Wolf was second, Adamo then third, then Längenfelder, until De Wolf decided to take a trip to terra firma. Picked himself up, did not want McClellan to come by him, took him to the outside, tagged his wheel. McClellan went down. Sure, he was effing and jeffing underneath that helmet as well. Then the 51 of Oriol Oliver fell from 4th on lap 3, and your race leader, he then fell as well. Sasha Coonan taking a trip over the bars. A bit of an off-track excursion there allowed Längenfelder to find his way past De Wolf. That put him into second, and that would be a battle that would go right the way down to the checkered flag. Sasha Coonan fell again, this on the finish line jump. Anybody help me, please? De Wolf then charged up the inside of Längenfelder. Mattis Valland fell from 4th on the final lap, ended up in 6th. Then, with half a lap to go, the mistake there from De Wolf, that allowed Längenfelder back into second. It was Adamo, though, who was victorious by almost 13 seconds over Längenfelder and De Wolf. Prunier picking up his best result in MX2. Take a look at the foxhole shot, shall we? And, of course, we know by now it was that dozer right there. Everts, by about a bike length, his second of the season. His 10th career black plate. His last come in Kozar race 2 earlier this year. Take a look at the results real quick. Adamo wins race 1 then on the Red Bull KTM, ahead of Simon Längenfelder. Then the Astana Husqvarna of Kai de Wolf was next. Then the WZ Racing KTM of Prunier, Monster Energy Yamaha of Elzinga, the Kawasaki Racing Team of Valin, then the Honda HRC of Zanki. Then we had Mikula on the TM, Latta, Braceras, Everts, Perez, Beniston, Oliver, Suleimani, McClellan, and then behind them, Smith, Vennekant, Coonan, and Groh. Take a look at the best moments, and when we return, it will be for MXGP Race 1. We'll see you then.